Now to the Israelis and Palestinians. The White House called this Sunday night speech by Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu an important step forward. He called for a Palestinian state, but with preconditions rejected by the Palestinians. CBS News correspondent Richard Roth is in Tel Aviv with the latest. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Harry. Well, an Israeli columnist this morning is calling it a giant leap for Benjamin Netanyahu, but a small step for the peace process. And Palestinians are calling it a lot less than that.
The Israeli prime minister endorsed a Palestinian state, but with conditions the Palestinians reject. A state with a flag and a national anthem, he said, but with no army or arms to defend itself. Jerusalem would remain united as Israel's capital. Palestinian refugees would have no right to return here. Palestinians called the proposal a non-starter.
So we have attempts to move a peace process which was moving like a turtle in the region. Now Netanyahu tonight flipped it on its back.
While Netanyahu said there'd be no new Jewish settlements on the West Bank, he said settlers need to lead normal lives, alluding to the creep of construction Israel calls natural growth that Washington wants stopped.
In fact, Netanyahu gave up so little in his speech that this morning he's managed to keep hardliners in his government on board. At the same time, he's received a positive reaction from the White House for what it called an important step forward. Harry?
Richard Roth in Tel Aviv this morning. Thanks. Joining us now from Jerusalem, the Israeli ambassador designate to the U.S., Michael Oren. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Harry. How are you?
Very well. Let's talk about this because one of the Palestinian negotiators said about the Benjamin Netanyahu speech, he spoke about negotiations but left us with nothing to negotiate as he systematically took nearly every permanent status issue off the table. Is this a real step forward?
I think it's a very significant step forward, Harry. It's a step where Israel now has expressed its willingness to live side by side in peace with a Palestinian state that recognizes Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state, and a Palestinian state that does not threaten Israel's safety and survival. Now, keep in mind, we withdrew from Gaza several years ago. The Palestinians there were given a chance to lead an independent lives, and rather than doing so, they responded by firing 10,000 rockets into Israel. Now, we can't let that happen again. No responsible Israeli government would. But this is a tremendous step forward, saying that the government and the people of Israel are willing to live side by side in peace with a peaceful and mutually recognized Palestinian state.
These caveats, though, disarming, recognizing Israel as a Jewish state, taking Jerusalem all the way off the table, are those real areas? Those will be non-starters for the Palestinians.
Well, I don't understand why recognizing Israel as a Jewish state is a non-starter. Certainly, Israel is being asked to recognize the Palestinian right to self-determination. I honestly can't see a peace treaty that's not based on mutual recognition. As for disarmament, again, we're dealing in a very dangerous area of the world. We've had this experience with Gaza. The West Bank, what we call Judea and Samaria, is alongside our major population industrial areas. We can't have a situation where a Palestinian state will be able to import rockets, such as Hamas has done in Gaza, and shell our cities, shell our major airport, or a situation in which the West Bank Palestinian government could make a military pact with Hezbollah or with Iran. Those would be existential threats for us.
All right. Ambassador Designate Oren, thank you very much for your time this morning. Do appreciate it, sir.